Hi! Hi, I'm Obi, and I'm back. These two came out around the same time, one in 2020 and one in 2021. They both had the same base elements of, local gangs, yakuza, dark chivalry, kind of like a modern era. So the reason that I wanted to watch them was not because of the complaints of other people, although that is sometimes fun to start with. The main reason is because there was a lot of TikToks of both of these. Specifically, there were some really good cosplays of the Tokyo Revenger cast. And then there was this one scene from Ikebukuro that was played over and over and over again. What's weird is I now cannot find a good copy of that scene on TikTok to show you. But it's fine, because we're gonna get to the actual thing here in a little bit. Alright, so let's start with Ikebukuro. Ikebukuro is by Studio Doga Kobo, and their thing is generally dramas. So what we can expect going into this is a modern kind of dark chivalry yakuza drama. Very few of the anime that they've made sticks out, which is sad. Some of them are pretty good for like a watch list, but if you'll get to it or not, who knows. Some of their upcoming looks pretty interesting, and I really enjoyed Dantalion and Devils and Realist for the little bit that I watched, and then haven't talked to you guys about, because I've seen so much stuff to talk to you guys about, just have not gotten to it yet, and I may never, So today's problem for the G-boys of Ikebukuro is a drug den. Specifically one that's causing problems in their territory, and obviously isn't protected by them, or it wouldn't be causing them problems. We meet the G-boys, the head of the G-boys anyways, which is Takashi, and Takashi is referred to as King by the people of Ikebukuro. And then we also meet Makoto. Makoto is a local. Makoto is a local. He's an old friend of both the king and the chief of police, and a detective, and seemingly everyone. We get an opening, and it is suitable for the show, and that's about it. Our two main characters pick up a kid named Mion. Mion's mother is hanging out at the drug den and not hanging out with her kid. And her kid doesn't like that, which is fair. But what Mion tries to do, because of that, is burn down the drug den, which again is an entire building and is connected to other buildings, so that would be a major arson case. But the G-boys put a stop to it before it happens, and they put Makoto on the case of helping her out, with trying to figure out a solution that isn't arson. Oh yeah, along with everyone else that Makoto is friends with. He's also friends with 01, who is a local master hacker, and whose aesthetic I can get behind. Among other things, Makoto, the little girl, and all the G-boys deduce that there is a location that the shopkeep and like the area manager of these drug den shops. It's the closest I could understand to it, is it's an area manager. There's another place that they frequent that isn't a shop, and so they kind of like go check it out, they kind of like break in. So what is located at this extra location is a grow. It's not like a big grow, to be honest. I don't really know what the laws are like in Japan, but I'm sitting here like, that's nothing. And so because they found this grow, they then take that information to their buddies, Makoto's friends, the chief of police, and the detectives, and all the other police that they have. Basically, they're all in the same gang. They're all in the same ring, basically. And they take him down. Honestly, I mean, that's it. Honestly, it's just a really good, like, proper pilot. And this dancer is the leader of the Red Angels. Whenever it's first described, it sounds just a little bit culty. And I mean, that's fine. A cult is what a cult is. Today's problem for the G-Boys is capitalism! Who doesn't love an anti-capitalist? Like...
腹がいっぱいになって価格は飛び切りやすい。今の世の中にありふれている商品の典型だ。その裏には安い給料で働く若い奴らがいる。寝る時間も削って働かされた挙句、体を壊したり心を病んだりする奴が山ほどだ。まだあまり表には出ていないがな。
We just talk about how an attractive man like King being anti-capitalist is just delicious. So in this particular episode, they take it a little bit far with, like, the effects of capitalism. I mean, they have kids almost kill themselves, but at the same time, that's like a legitimate concern, especially in Japan and increasingly in the US. Workplace overwork deaths, and then also suicide because of overwork is increasingly common, and it's something people should talk about more. So because two of the boys hurt by the curry company are from different gangs, the Red Angels and the G-Boys figure out that they aren't each other's problem, the curry company is a separate issue. And so together they take that shit down real fast. The next episode, the problem of the day is social media, specifically subscriber chasing, overblown drama, beef, and chaos culture as a whole because of generally YouTube shit.
これなんか意味あんのか？
全然ない。意味はないけど面白いってとこがいいんだ。
The writers definitely have a strong grasp on, like, basic millennial humor there, because that shit was funny and accurate. So this particular not YouTuber that they're dealing with, his thing is eating onions and crying in public, because of the onions, to my understanding. And then he has a secondary thing that he doesn't do as often, but is somehow more popular. And that's rolling down stairs with different numbers on him, and then whatever number he lands on wins, kind of. So he's like playing like human dice, essentially. All terrible ideas, but very early YouTube. So this dice of a human being got into some beef with a masked guerrilla group of not YouTubers who have a tendency to do call-it videos and be a little bit violent. And so he asked the G-Boys for protection. However, from the beginning, it's pretty sus.
流星さんとただましデストロイヤー Z の揉め事はプロレスです。
は
あ？ちゃんと打ち合わせをしてお互いに反則技を繰り出してるんです。
Yup, that's not surprising. The mystery is how it will play out. After all, wasting a gang's time is dark chivalry or not, wasting a gang's time is not a good idea. Even if they seem like they're nice guys, ultimately, they're in a gang for a reason.
なあ、ハンマーブロスって知ってるか？
知らない。
そうか。お前らは俺たちの仲間を傷つけた。
It happened so fast. But that was the coolest shit ever. My problem with that is just how fucking fast it happened. And ultimately it didn't matter, which kind of sucks. The tone didn't change after that, the scene barely even shifted, he just spooked them, and that was it. And it's like, come on now. That's basically it, that's all you need to know. We got to the scene, that's all that matters. Ikebukuro is fine. It's an episodic show. And episodic shows kind of have a different purpose than like a story show. and there's nothing really to dislike, generally. What this one gives me is something between Hypnosis Mike and Millionaire Detective, which just isn't an energetic and engaging place to be. But it's not bad, by any means. But yeah. Tokyo Revengers. Onto the quality content. I may have, like, really fucked this up. Give me a second. This one is by Studio Lindenfilms, which is a part of a joint holding group. It's not a subsidiary, I don't think. That one's kind of confusing. I'm not a business major. It's a part of a joint holding group called Ultra Super Pictures, whose members include Studio Trigger and 2 others who worked on Black Rock Shooter. So they got something going for them. Studio Trigger is clearly the best of them, the most impressive anyways. But Studio Lindenfilms is the most prolific. It has almost 4 to 5 times the amount of series as the rest of them. So if you keep swinging the hammer, you're bound to hit something, and they're just swinging away. So one thing about this that I've heard complaints about, and that I genuinely kind of respect in terms of if you're going to make a complaint, and that is the art style. It's kind of blocky, like an older anime, or almost like an American cartoon, to be honest. And you get used to it pretty fast, but it's also just kind of weird. If you can get past it, it's not really a problem, but if you can't, I also get that. It still looks modern, don't get me wrong. It's just like a retro-modern in terms of anime, which is just interesting to see, to be honest. No, I don't dislike it, it's a little bit unnerving at first, because you're like, what? Why is he so fucking square? He's just fucking square, dude. So our main character, Takamichi, was living a pretty boring as shit adult life. It wasn't anything special. And he got pushed in front of a train one day and was sent back in time to his peak years in middle school. Only to find out whenever he got there that actually it was lame as shit, just like everyone's middle school, and he had misremembered a lot of it. And now he's kind of like reliving being a lame as shit fucking middle schooler, which is pretty great, actually. I like the honesty of that. The boys, middle schoolers, again, we're going fast in this summary, damn it. He was an adult, now he's a kid. Stick with it. They get into some trouble with some older boys. Takamichi remembers just a little bit too late how it goes down to do anything about it. So he's pretty fucking worthless as a time traveler.
Huh? ちゃんと言って。君のことは何でも知りたいの。
Yeah, he never deserved this girl, by the way. She's great.
俺は今最強にイラついてんだよ。消えろ。殺すぞ。
ごめんなさい。失礼します。
そんなところに捨てたら危ないです。
ああ、ごめん。
Well, that's a series of mood shifts. I suppose this day has been really hard.
12年後の7月1日、お前の姉ちゃんは死ぬ。そん時、お前も一緒に死ぬんだ。
What the fuck? This is what happens when you send a jock back to the past, not a fucking nerd. Then again, considering he doesn't know if he's truly in the past, I feel like that's affecting the choice. You know what I mean? Like, you don't know what I mean. I haven't mentioned that in the summary yet. You have no idea what I mean. So he got hit by a train and thrown to the past. He thinks that he's seeing life flash before his eyes. He does not think that it's physically in the past. He does admit that it's very realistic and that it sucks that it physically hurts, but he doesn't fully grasp that he went back in time because, I mean, that's difficult to comprehend, right? So, And he had a very intense day. So at the end of this episode, Takemichi is pulled back to the present into the train station infirmary. There's no specifics on how he survived that shit, but he did somehow. And Naoto is there. Naoto is the little boy he just spoke to. Naoto survived. And is a very diligent kid. Like, he was diligent to start with, and now he's a diligent adult. Double the diligence. But he failed to ultimately save the girl that he meant to. So, I mean, at least there's the kid. He saved one diligent fucking kid who's a cop now, so did some good for the community, I guess, assumedly. I don't know what policing is like in Japan. Maybe it fucking sucks. Maybe it's great. I have no idea. The opening! So it's kind of pretty. It's kind of a unique situation because this is a story about local gangs, yakuza, fucking little shit kids. So it doesn't fit, but it's also ultimately a drama. So it does fit. Okay, so Naoto is generally like a smarter kid and a smarter adult than Takemichi is. One particular benefit of that is that he has spent the 12 years, I think it is. They say it a couple times, and of course I forgot. Since Takemichi went back to the in between the present, trying to comprehend what Takemichi's ability is and what to do about it. And he's determined that the ability works. It only goes back specifically that amount of time. So, if Takemichi stays in the present for 2 days, in this case, or a week or a month, it will also move that far in the past. So, if he goes back a month from now, he won't be back with Naoto in the park. He'll be back with him a month after that, if that makes sense. How Naoto got there after interacting with him fucking once? No idea. It could have something to do with the timelines and the fact that there's no way Takemichi doesn't go back and meet him again. But in theory, this Naoto has only met Takemichi that once. What Naoto decides to just torment Takemichi with, to fill his brain with, and what he determines is important to send him back with, is information about the Tokyo Manjin gang. Those are the ones who killed the girl, his sister. During this explanation, we get our first glimpses of the two halves of the gang. So what Naoto wants is for Takemichi to keep the gang from merging, because initially it was two different gangs whenever he was younger, and now that they're all adults, they've merged and become one super nasty fucking gang. We see two characters at that point, and one of them is extremely attractive, and that would be Mikey. So it generally seems that the biggest hurdle that Takemichi has to get over in achieving his goals in the past is his own wild and violent childhood. He gets his ass kicked, as one does, I assume. I mean, I would. Ooh, dark brows. See that shit with the lighting, tell you what. So the older kids that beat up Takemichi and his friends, the middle school friends, kind of like keeps him as like a pet to like beat up on and use in fight rings and shit, and run errands and buy them things with money they probably don't have, which honestly is probably why other gang violence happens with kids now I think about it. I mean, why would you steal? Because you're gonna get your ass kicked. That makes sense. It's a cycle, motherfucker. These older kids treat these boys like abused pets, to be honest. They treat them like shit. And they're actual gang members is the thing. They're part of the Tokyo Manjin gang. And so Takemichi, after getting his ass kicked in the fight rink, just straight up asks about the person he's supposed to be asking about, and almost gets fucking killed for it. Like, apparently you're not supposed to ask questions, so I would be dead as fuck.
男の子ってなんで喧嘩ばっかりするの？ひなも男の子だったらな。え？そしたらね、へい！花垣くんのことひなが守ってあげるの。ひな、空手やってたから、もし男の子だったら強いよ。
Hina is far too good for him. And also, if she's in a badass by the end of this, the lesbians will rebel, and I will help them. So the show as a whole is kind of complicated, to be honest. On one hand, you've got this kid with, like, barely even 2 brain cells trying to save one singular person who seems to resist saving for whatever reason. I'm sure there'll be a massive reveal about, like, why particularly her keeps dying. However, there's also his friends in the past who were just dealt a really bad hand and are just struggling constantly to get by and survive and protect each other. Like, they genuinely care about each other, which is weird because they're middle school boys. And the closing, I am living for the closing. It highlights Hina's experience, not to mention the visuals are excellent, and I like that. I just like that. So, Takemichi challenges a bigger kid.
King Tai Dore.
And that bigger kid's gonna decimate him. Easily. For the second day in a row. As if the day before the baseball bat wasn't enough to make it an unfair fucking fight. His fucking ribs are cracked now, undoubtedly, along with a lot of other things being messed up. Atsushi steps in, the red-haired kid, and is about to pull a knife to protect him, when he absolutely snaps.
逃げて逃げて逃げて引けねえんだよ引けねえ理由があるんだよ
Him snapping probably kept Atsushi from going to prison. I assume. And you know, given where we started with him, that counts as character growth. It really does. He's still a crybaby, but honestly, like, what's wrong with being a crybaby? Like, if that's a problem for you, like, fuck right off. Do you really think you could take Sailor Moon in a fight? Because you fucking couldn't. And she's a crybaby and she'd fucking crush you. Respect crybabies.
ねえねえケンチン。
ああ、こういうとこでそのあだ名呼ぶんじゃねえよ。
どら焼きなくなっちゃった。
Ah, about time the main characters appeared.
タケミッチ、今日から俺の立ち。な。え
You would have to imagine it is so difficult not to be terrified if, like, the top dog of, like, an actual gang said you were gonna be his friend. Of course, Takemichi knows.
かっこよかったぜよせよ照れるわ
Oh, was he cute before?
お、いたいた。
え
遊ぼうよ、タケミッチ。
授業中。
めちゃくちゃやこの人
Yeah, I saw that shit coming. At least Takemichi was kind of aware. The other kids obviously weren't. But the general chaos, I think, was a little bit further than even Takemichi could have fathomed. Because he didn't know anything about the frickin' gang that he's about to frickin' join. Or Mikey in particular.
Takemichi-kun, 行こう。こんな人たちの言いなりになっちゃダメだよ。
え
ひなが守ってあげる。
So not only does Takemichi not deserve Hime, no one does. Except herself.
女に手出すわけねえじゃん。
And that's the moment that I started to like Mikey.
タケミッチ、 俺相手に凄んだな。
すみません。
いいよ。
え？
譲れねえもんがある。
And that's the moment that I absolutely fell in love with Dagon. The very last scene of the third episode is the reveal that the other top dog of the Takuyomanji group of the future, which again is two different people, one of them is Mikey and one of them is some other dude with weird eyebrows. Alright, so that's it. I get that it's really easy to hate on Takemichi because he is kind of a little bitch. But aren't we all little bitches? Really? I mean, I couldn't take a hit. I've never had to stand up to anyone in my life. I've never had to do any of that shit. I cannot fathom how much it would hurt to be hit by a baseball bat. And he's hit like multiple fucking times and then walks home. Like, you'd be fucking crying too. Like, there's no... And for asking a question, it'd be life-changing. I'm such a little fucker. I ask questions all the time, and I'm the worst person. Like, I would get my ass kicked so fucking much. And he's a little bitch for it? Like, yeah, sure, he is. But also, the fact that he agrees to go back after getting his fucking body broken down by a baseball bat, like, unfathomable. Unfathomable. So looking at these two animes together, Ikebukuro and Tokyo Revengers, it kind of highlights the difference between episodic and story-based media. And kind of the weaknesses of episodic things, to be honest. For example, in Supernatural, a lot of people who aren't necessarily tied up in the fandom or don't really care as much, they always say the first season was the best. And it was the episodic season, by far. There were other episodic ones throughout the series, and those were peak. But those specifically, people tend to think of as the best. However, those people never met Castiel. They never met Rowena. They never met Gabriel. They never met, you know, anyone that we treasure, because they only cared about that immediate resolution that episodic stories provide. Another example is Legend of Korra. I loved Aemon's arc in Legend of Korra, but literally nothing in this reality compares to Zuko's arc in Avatar: The Last Airbender. Nothing will ever be. Maybe parts of Fullmetal Alchemist. Other than that, nothing compares to Zuko's arc in Avatar: The Last Airbender. And the reason is because it had so much time to really accentuate the elegance of the writing and tying it up together and making such a perfect arc fit into a children's show that's also woven well, so it doesn't stick out and feel like it's overtaking the story in any way. It's just art. It's just fucking art, and it's great. That doesn't mean that Korra isn't. It just means it's different type of art, and that's it. They're just playing on different levels is the only thing. Because what you can achieve is more depth with more time and content. And so there isn't lesser value in the shorter thing. It's just, it's not going to have the same depth. That's all. So I recommend Tokyo Revengers. Bye. Oh, it's gonna be cold. Are you supposed to contour your bald spot? No. I'm gonna guess no on that one. Oh, I'm not gonna be able to get the... It's way too big. Oh my god, that's huge. This is so tiny! Oh my god. Okay, this is not gonna work. This is not gonna work. Maybe I'll just get the head. That'd be kind of funny. That came off so easy. This is not that Kat Von D stuff that I used for, Sukuna. I was like, Itatori. Nope, the one inside Itatori. Looks pretty good. Looks pretty good. Yeah. I fuck with it. This could be going worse. I'm just saying. It could be going a lot worse. Have I been calling him Takashi? Oh god. Takemichi. I hope I've been calling him Takemichi. Sorry about the lighting. I'll try and fix it next time. It's all a learning experience. New location, all that jazz. Maybe in post I can fix it. Who the fuck knows? Not me. Maybe I shouldn't be fucking with it. Maybe I should fuck with it in post. That's probably a really good idea. This is probably a terrible, terrible thing to do to myself, given that I know how to do post, and I'm just dicking around. Saturation, honey.